I'm going to show you how I ran my business from 12 countries last year.
Mm-hmm.
This protocol kept me profitable while exploring.
Hmm.
You are going to learn exactly how to build the ultimate travel protocol. We are unpacking the definitive blueprint for mobile productivity and true digital nomadism, entirely based on the sources you shared with us for this deep dive.
Yeah, and we really need to be clear right out of the gate here. We are not just talking about taking your laptop to a beach, ordering a pina colada, and hoping for the best.
Right.
Because that is, frankly, the quickest path to a sunburn and a missed deadline. What we're doing today is fundamentally rewiring how and where deep work happens.
Absolutely.
We're looking at a complete systemic shift in how you view productivity when you are, completely untethered from a traditional desk.
Okay, so that's the setup. Let's move to our first major point. I want you to grab an audio sticky note and put it right at the front of your brain.
Yeah, write this down mentally.
You need the ROAM system. ROAM, that is the core mnemonic we're going to use to break down this entire philosophy. So let's start with the R, which stands for routine portability.
Routine portability is essential because it addresses the very first thing that collapses when people travel. I mean, we tend to anchor our habits to our physical environment.
Oh, for sure.
You associate your specific ergonomic chair or the exact lighting in your home office, maybe the ambient noise of your neighborhood, with the act of working.
Yeah.
And when you strip those physical cues away, executive function just plummets.
Yeah.
Your brain literally no longer knows it's time to focus.
But I mean, when I'm in a really noisy Tokyo cafe or a cramped train, I can't just wish away the distraction.
No, you can't.
So how do you actually replace a dedicated home office on the fly like that?
Well, you stop relying on physical anchors entirely.
Yeah.
You have to build this, think of it as a lightweight, foldable mental tent.
A mental tent.
That's exactly. You want a routine that you can pop up anywhere on Earth. It's about finding micro habits that travel with you and serve as psychological triggers.
Mm.
That might mean always putting on a specific pair of noise-canceling headphones or playing the exact same instrumental track before you start a task.
Yeah.
Maybe doing 5 minutes of structured journaling before you even open your laptop.
So it's a behavioral trigger.
Right. It tells your brain, we're inside the tent now. It's time to focus completely regardless of the chaos happening outside.
That makes total sense. You're carrying your environment inside your head.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the O in the ROAM system. Offline capability.
Yes.
Now, the modern workflow is almost entirely cloud-based. If everything is in Google Docs, Figma, or a web CRM,
Which it usually is.
losing a connection on a train through Italy isn't just an annoyance, it's a dead end. Imagine the sudden, jarring silence of losing a Wi-Fi signal. Your screen freezes, you're locked out. How do we actually build around that without just saying, download your files?
That is the core challenge. You have to intentionally design a branching workflow before you ever leave your hotel room. It requires dividing your projects into research-heavy buckets, which require connectivity, and synthesis-heavy buckets, which demand offline execution.
But what about version control? If I'm offline for 4 hours coding or writing, and my team is editing the same live files.
That's a nightmare.
Right, it's a sync conflict nightmare when I finally reconnect.
Which is exactly why you don't use live collaborative files for deep offline work. You utilize local-first tools, things like Obsidian for knowledge management or Git-style branching for development and writing.
Got it.
You set up a protocol with your team where drafting or building happens locally on your hard drive. When you know you have a 3-hour train ride, you queue up the deep-thinking tasks that require zero internet access.
So you're actually planning for the blackout.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Then when the Wi-Fi drops out in a tunnel, you don't even notice. You treat that connectivity dead zone as an impenetrable fortress of focus. You only merge your work back into the cloud during a designated sync window.
So you are structurally bulletproofing your workflow against the unpredictability of travel infrastructure. I love that. Let's unpack the A in the framework.
Async communication.
Yes, async communication. And here's where it gets really interesting. Breaking the chains of real-time communication. But I have to push back here a bit.
Okay, go ahead.
The concept sounds great in theory, but how do you handle a client or a manager who demands a real-time response? People feel ignored if they don't get that instant green dot on Slack. How do you set that boundary without losing the contract?
You do it through proactive service level agreements, or SLAs. Asynchronous communication doesn't mean you are unresponsive.
Right.
It means you are unresponsive right this second. The friction happens when expectations aren't managed. If you try to maintain the standard corporate expectation of an instant reply while traveling across 12 different countries,
Yeah.
you are going to absolutely destroy your mental health waking up at 3 in the morning for weekly sync meetings.
So it's an upfront negotiation. You aren't just ghosting your communication channels.
Exactly. You establish a communication charter. You tell your clients or team, I process all communications and provide comprehensive replies within 24 hours. And then you over-deliver on the quality of that reply. Instead of 10 rapid-fire, low-context messages back and forth, you send a highly detailed screen recording video or a meticulously structured memo that answers their questions and anticipates the next 3. You explicitly remove the expectation of an immediate response, allowing the recipient to process the information on their own time.
What happens if there is a legitimate emergency, though? A server goes down or a major client threatens to walk?
You build an escalation protocol. You might provide a specific phone number that bypasses your Do Not Disturb settings, but with the strict caveat that it is only for code red emergencies.
A ripcord.
Yes. And once people know they have a ripcord, they rarely pull it. When you master async communication, you protect your deep focus blocks and maintain peak productivity across entirely different longitudes.
All right, that brings us to the final letter of the ROAM system, the M minimal gear.
My favorite part.
And to be clear, we aren't talking about how to pack your clothes here. We're talking about the digital gear that makes up your mobile workspace.
Correct. Imagine the heavy, exhausting drag of a 50-pound suitcase.
The worst.
Now contrast that with the light, unburdened physical freedom of carrying just the essentials. Every extra piece of technology you pack is a cognitive tax. It's something you have to charge, protect, organize, and troubleshoot.
Right.
We are talking about reducing your workspace to a reliable laptop, a lightweight portable stand, a single universal power adapter, and noise-canceling technology.
Aren't you sacrificing physical comfort and efficiency by ditching the second monitor, the mechanical keyboard, and the mouse pad? A lot of developers and designers swear they cannot work without a dual-screen setup.
There is an ergonomic trade-off, sure, but you overcome it by mastering your software. Instead of dragging around secondary physical monitors, you master virtual desktops.
Like the Spaces feature on Mac?
Exactly, or on Windows. You learn the keyboard shortcuts to swipe instantly between your code editor, your browser, and your communication tools. If you absolutely need a second screen, you utilize a tablet as a sidecar display, which doubles as your reading device. The goal is to reduce technical friction. The less time you spend setting up a complex physical workstation, the more mental bandwidth you reserve for your actual work.
Okay, we've unpacked the ROAM framework. Routine portability, offline capability, async communication, and minimal gear. Now, let's move to the second major point.
The mindset shift.
Yes, how we actually view the act of traveling itself.
This is where we encounter a profound resource reframe in the source material. Most people view travel as a necessary evil. They sit in the terminal, scrolling mindlessly, just waiting for the ordeal to be over so they can start their vacation.
Yeah.
But this protocol treats travel time exclusively as deep work time.
Yeah.
They describe the airplane as a pressurized isolation chamber.
Think about the sensory experience of a long-haul flight for a second. The cabin doors close with that heavy ceiling thud. The pressurization kicks in. You hear the steady, low-frequency white noise of the jet engines humming. It's a constant roar that drowns out the outside world. But I usually just try to sleep or watch a movie. The idea of doing hard, complex work on a plane sounds exhausting. Doesn't the lack of physical space kill creativity?
What's fascinating here is that the spatial constraint is exactly what triggers the focus.
Really?
Yeah. There are no external triggers. No one can knock on your office door. There are no notifications buzzing in your pocket, assuming you avoid the overpriced, slow airplane Wi-Fi. You are physically trapped in a seat with nothing but a tray table, your laptop, and your thoughts.
You literally couldn't escape to the kitchen for a snack even if you wanted to.
Exactly. This forced constraint provides a massive psychological benefit known as sensory gating. Your brain realizes there is no escape to social media or the water cooler, so it finally surrenders to the hard, complex tasks you've been avoiding on the ground. When you reframe your mindset this way, a 10-hour flight transforms into a massive competitive advantage. It becomes a dedicated, deep work retreat where you can accomplish more than you would in a week at a highly distracted office.
So travel time is now focus time. Let's quickly transition to the third phase, the actual ground-level tactical list. Grab another audio sticky note.
Yeah, pay attention to this.
Remember these 3 specific tactics. Tactic number 1, the airport sprint.
This is a game changer.
Think about the last time you were at a major international hub. The glaring screens, the sheer volume of people moving in every direction, the chaotic, kinetic energy, most of us just shut down.
We just want to get to the gate.
Right. But there's a massive opportunity right after you clear security. I get the adrenaline rush of finally getting your shoes back on, but how do you actually focus with boarding announcements blaring?
That's where you leverage Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. Airports offer incredibly unique pockets of forced waiting time. You finish security, and suddenly you have exactly 45 minutes before your boarding group is called.
So the ticking clock becomes a feature, not a bug.
Precisely. The airport sprint tactic is about harnessing that lingering adrenaline and the strict time constraint. You find a quiet corner, pop open your mental tent, put on your headphones to block the chaos, and you execute one high-priority task.
Just walk.
Just one. You ruthlessly prioritize. Because you know boarding starts in exactly 30 minutes, you don't overthink the email draft. You outline the project swiftly. You crush a specific bottleneck that might have taken you 2 hours on a lazy Sunday.
It's a momentum builder. You board the plane already feeling victorious, which sets the tone for the isolation chamber deep work session we just discussed. Okay, let's unpack tactic number 2. Time zone arbitrage.
Oh, this is powerful.
Okay, let's unpack this. This is essentially surfing global clocks. If you're in Tokyo, you've got a 14-hour head start on New York. You're trading geography for a 6-hour block of total silence.
The psychological benefit of this cannot be overstated. Imagine surfing a wave of global clocks. When you wake up fresh in the morning, pour your coffee, and sit down to work, the entire Western Hemisphere is asleep.
That sounds amazing.
You open your inbox, and it isn't actively growing. There are no new emergencies. You have a quiet, uninterrupted head start before the rest of the world wakes up and starts demanding your attention.
But what about the handover? Don't you eventually have to sync up with the home office when they wake up? Does this just mean working a split shift and ruining your evening?
Not if you strictly enforce the structured async communication from the ROAM framework. You spend your morning doing deep, uninterrupted work. By the time your colleagues or clients are waking up and the synchronous noise begins, you have already completed a full day of output.
So you're done.
You're done. You can spend your afternoon exploring the city, totally guilt-free. Then you might schedule a brief 30-minute block in your evening, which is their morning, to hand off the batons, send your async updates, and clarify any blockers. It completely flips the dynamic of feeling behind on a trip. You are literally living in the future, getting your work done before anyone else has even had their morning coffee.
All right, which brings us to tactic number 3. This ties back to the minimalist ethos, the M in ROAM. But here we are specifically talking about one-bag travel in terms of pure transit logistics.
Yes.
This is the physical movement through airports and cities.
This is entirely about mechanical advantage. Every step of standard travel is friction. Standing at the baggage carousel for 30 minutes hoping your black suitcase wasn't left in a connecting city, lugging it through customs, finding a taxi big enough to hold it, dragging it up cobblestone streets. It costs physical energy and mental bandwidth.
I have to play devil's advocate here. Living out of one carry-on backpack for a month across different climates. That sounds like a laundry nightmare, not a productivity hack. If I'm spending my evenings scrubbing shirts in a hotel sink, I'm losing the time I gained from the time zone arbitrage.
That's a common misconception, but it's solved through a strategic capsule wardrobe and material science. You pack versatile layers and rely on materials like merino wool, which is naturally antimicrobial and resists odor.
Interesting.
You don't hand wash every night. You simply utilize local laundry services or laundromats once a week. The hour it takes to do laundry locally is mathematically far less time and energy than navigating the logistical nightmares of checked luggage over a multi-city itinerary.
The math checks out.
It does. When everything you need fits into a single carry-on compliant backpack, you skip the baggage claim entirely. You walk straight off the plane, breeze through the airport, and step directly into a new city without friction. You can jump on a crowded subway train instead of waiting for a taxi. This lack of physical friction translates directly to preserved mental bandwidth.
You just keep moving.
Exactly. You arrive at your destination feeling energized, which means you are ready to slip right back into your portable routine the next morning.
It's the ultimate hack for moving through the world fast and efficiently. Okay, this has been an incredibly dense breakdown. Let's quickly recap the entire protocol we just covered. We started with the foundation, the ROAM framework.
Right.
Routine portability with a mental tent. Offline capability using branching workflows and local first tools. async communication through strict SLAs, and minimal gear by mastering your digital workspace.
From there, we explored the resource reframe, treating the airplane not as a cramped bus in the sky, but as a pressurized isolation chamber utilizing sensory gating for deep, uninterrupted work.
And finally, we hit the ground running with the 3 key tactics: the airport sprint to harness forced waiting time zone arbitrage to surf global clocks and get a massive head start on your day, and one-bag travel logistics to completely eliminate the mechanical friction of transit.
When you combine all of these elements, you aren't just taking a trip. You are operating a highly sophisticated mobile productivity engine. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway from the source material. This is the mindset shift that ties it all together. Don't escape your life. Design a life you don't need to escape.
That cuts right to the core of why we are doing any of this. It's not about running away. It's about building a sustainable, frictionless way to operate anywhere. And that leaves us with a final question for you to mull over as we wrap up this deep dive.
It's a big one.
If you stripped away all the heavy gear, the constant pinging of notifications, and the rigid, unyielding location of your current job, what would your unescapable life actually look like tomorrow morning? Where would you wake up, and what is the first thing you would build?
It is a question worth exploring.
Absolutely. Take that question with you and try implementing just one piece of the ROAM system on your next trip. We will catch you on the next deep dive.
You've made it this far, so why stop now? There are 2 videos on your screen right now that are perfect for you. Just pick the one that looks most interesting and let's dive back in.